Did you know that women who carried excess body fat for just over a decade had a threefold higher risk of developing breast cancer? That's not a small number. It's a life-altering statistic backed by long-term research. And it doesn't stop there. Excess visceral fat, the fat buried deep inside your body, has been linked to 14 different cancers, from colon and ovarian to lung and prostate. It's not just about looking heavier around the waistline. This fat acts like a toxic factory, quietly fueling inflammation that sets the stage for disease. What makes visceral fat so dangerous is that it's invisible. You don't always see it in the mirror. In fact, you could look thin, wear the same clothing size you always have, and still be carrying this dangerous fat packed tightly around your organs. Doctors call this skinny fat, and it's far more common than most people realize. Think of visceral fat like packing peanuts stuffed into a shipping box. From the outside, the box looks slim and neat, but inside, it's crammed full, pressing against fragile contents. That's exactly what happens in your body. Whether you're lean or overweight, visceral fat can crowd your liver, kidneys, intestines, and even your heart. And here's the kicker. Unlike the fat under your skin, visceral fat is biologically active. It leaks inflammatory chemicals into your bloodstream, spreading quiet damage day after day. The first place many people assume they gain fat is their belly. It makes sense. You look down and that's where you notice the bulge. But studies reveal something shocking. One of the very first places you start gaining excess fat isn't your belly at all. It's your tongue. Yes, your tongue can actually become marbled with fat like a ribeye steak. As it swells, it can block your airway while you sleep, leading to snoring and even sleep apnea. That's why even thin people can suddenly develop dangerous sleep disorders. So why should you care? Because visceral fat is not just about cancer risk. It sets the stage for heart disease, type 2 diabetes, dementia, and mobility issues. For seniors especially, this fat is the silent enemy robbing you of energy, balance, and vitality. But here's the good news. Scientists have discovered powerful, natural ways to reverse this process. From activating your body's built-in fat-burning system, called brown fat, to choosing specific foods proven to melt harmful fat, you can take back control. In today's video, we're going to explore exactly how you can burn away dangerous visceral fat, protect your organs, and reclaim your health. We'll cover the everyday foods, teas, and lifestyle habits that have been tested in real studies, along with clear portion recommendations that anyone over 60 can safely use. And by the end, you'll understand not only how to shed inches from your waistline, but also how to fight inflammation, lower disease risk, and restore your confidence. Visceral fat isn't like the fat you can pinch under your skin. That fat, called subcutaneous fat, might change your body shape, but it's relatively harmless. Visceral fat, on the other hand, hides deep inside the abdominal cavity, pressing against organs like your liver, pancreas, intestines, and even your heart. This fat behaves more like an endocrine organ, releasing inflammatory molecules into your bloodstream that disrupt hormones, metabolism, and immune function. Researchers at the National Cancer Institute have shown that visceral fat is directly linked to higher risks of 14 cancers, including breast, colorectal, and pancreatic cancer. The mechanism is clear. Visceral fat produces excess inflammatory cytokines, small proteins that stimulate chronic inflammation. And cancer thrives in inflamed environments, the same way embers burst into flames when gasoline is poured on them. But cancer isn't the only risk. A study published in Circulation followed over 3,000 adults and found that people with higher visceral fat had double the risk of heart disease even if they weren't overweight by BMI standards. In other words, you could be thin on the outside, but still carry hidden fat that raises your risk of heart attack or stroke. This is why waist circumference, not the scale, is often a better measure of health. For seniors, the warning line is 35 inches for women and 40 inches for men. Beyond that, the risk of metabolic disease skyrockets. One of the most surprising discoveries of the last decade is that visceral fat can accumulate in unexpected places. Doctors used MRI scans to study patients who were not overweight but still had health problems. What they found was astonishing. One of the first places visceral fat builds up is in the tongue. The back portion of the tongue, naturally marbled with a little fat, can become overloaded. As the tongue enlarges, it blocks the airway during sleep, leading to snoring or even obstructive sleep apnea. A study from Cornell University on Swedish women showed that even skinny women who had higher visceral fat deposits in their tongue were more likely to develop sleep apnea. This highlights a critical truth. Visceral fat is not about vanity, it's about survival. It doesn't matter if you're slender or heavier, young or old. If you have too much of this fat, your body's internal systems are under siege. And because it's often invisible, many people don't realize the danger until complications appear. Thankfully, your body also has a natural defense: brown fat. Unlike visceral fat, which stores calories, brown fat actually burns them. It's packed with mitochondria, the power plants of your cells, that convert stored fat into heat and energy. When activated, brown fat pulls energy from visceral fat first, making it a powerful ally in your fight against harmful weight gain. The question becomes, how do we activate it? Scientists have found that exposure to cold can trigger brown fat. For example, sleeping in a cool room or taking short cold showers activates the process. But even more exciting, certain foods and drinks can switch on brown fat too. That means you can literally eat and drink in ways that help burn off the most dangerous fat in your body. We'll dive into these foods next, looking at what studies show, how much to consume, and how to combine them for maximum effect. You'll see how something as simple as a daily cup of tea or a serving of fish can shrink your waistline, calm inflammation, and protect your organs. The role of brown fat and how to activate it naturally. Most people think of fat as something harmful, but not all fat is the enemy. In fact, your body contains a remarkable type of fat called brown adipose tissue, or brown fat, that works in your favor. Unlike visceral fat, which stores calories and spreads inflammation, brown fat burns calories to generate heat and protect your body. Think of it as your internal furnace, a built-in fat-burning system that's been with you since birth. Why is brown fat so powerful? It's packed with mitochondria, the tiny power plants of your cells. These mitochondria contain iron, which gives brown fat its distinctive color. When activated, they act like small engines, drawing fuel from stored white fat and especially visceral fat, converting it into usable energy and heat. In short, brown fat is nature's way of keeping harmful fat under control. So, how do we activate this hidden ally? Researchers have identified several ways, some as simple as adjusting your environment, others as enjoyable as eating specific foods. Let's start with the environmental triggers. Cold exposure, nature's switch for brown fat. One of the most studied activators of brown fat is exposure to cold. When your body senses chilly conditions, it responds by firing up brown fat to maintain warmth. A landmark study published in the Journal of Clinical Investigation found that spending just 2 hours a day in a cool room, around 66-degree vapors, 19-degree, significantly increased brown fat activity in healthy adults. The result? More calories burned, even at rest. But you don't need to sit in a cold room all day. Practical steps like lowering your bedroom thermostat at night, taking a brisk walk on a cool morning, or even trying a short cold shower can switch on your brown fat. For seniors, a safe approach is best. Aim for mild coolness, not shivering, just enough to nudge your body's natural furnace. The surprising link between medicines and brown fat. Interestingly, scientists at the U.S. National Institutes of Health discovered that certain medications, originally designed for bladder problems, also activated brown fat. They work by stimulating something called the beta-3 adrenergic receptor, which triggers brown fat to start burning energy. While these findings are fascinating, experts caution that the doses used in research are much higher than what would be safe for patients. That means this is not a recommended method for activating brown fat, but it proves just how responsive brown fat is to the right signals. Food as medicine, activating brown fat naturally. Here's the part that gets exciting. You don't need cold baths or experimental drugs to activate brown fat. Mother Nature has provided us with foods that send the same burn fat signals to your body. Certain bioactive compounds found in tea, seafood, vegetables, and spices can flip the same metabolic switch, sparking brown fat into action. One example is green tea, rich in catechins like EGCG, epigallocatechin gallate. Clinical trials have shown that people who drank 3 to 4 cups of green tea daily lost more weight and reduced their waist circumference compared to those who didn't. The secret? Green tea boosts brown fat thermogenesis, helping shrink visceral fat while improving blood pressure, glucose control, and cholesterol levels. Another powerful source is omega-3 fatty acids from fish like salmon, sardines, or even cod. These healthy fats interact with receptors in your cells that help activate brown fat while lowering inflammation. A study from Iceland found that eating salmon 3 times a week for 8 weeks not only improved metabolic health, but also led to measurable weight loss, up to 15 pounds in some participants. And the benefits weren't limited to oily fish. Even leaner fish like cod produce significant reductions in visceral fat. What makes these findings senior-friendly is that they emphasize addition, not restriction. You don't need to starve yourself or fear food. Instead, you can focus on including specific delicious items in your daily meals that encourage your body to burn fat naturally. Foods that burn fat, from helpful to most powerful. If you've ever thought weight loss was only about cutting back, here's some liberating news. Science shows that the right foods can actually burn fat for you. These aren't exotic pills or fad diet gimmicks. They're everyday items you can add to your grocery cart. The secret lies in their ability to activate brown fat, reduce inflammation, and shrink visceral fat. Let's walk through them in suspense order, building up to the most powerful fat-fighting foods. Number 5, oolong tea, a gentle metabolic push. Many seniors enjoy a warm cup of tea after meals. Oolong tea, often served in Chinese restaurants, sits halfway between green tea and black tea. It contains catechins and caffeine, which gently boost thermogenesis, the process of burning calories for heat. A study published in Obesity Research found that participants who drank oolong tea for 6 weeks increased their fat oxidation, fat burning, by about 12% compared to those drinking plain water. While it's not the strongest fat-burning tea, it's an easy, soothing way to replace sugary beverages. Portion tip: aim for 2-3 cups per day, preferably unsweetened. Enjoy it after lunch or dinner to aid digestion and gently activate brown fat. Number 4, matcha tea, concentrated fat-burning power. Unlike regular green tea, matcha is made by grinding whole tea leaves into a fine powder. This means you consume all the beneficial compounds directly, rather than just steeping them into water. Matcha is rich in EGCG, a catechin shown to directly stimulate brown fat activity. In a Japanese study, participants who drank matcha daily experienced greater reductions in body fat compared to those drinking regular green tea. The fiber in matcha also supports gut health, an added bonus for seniors. Portion tip: mix half to 1 teaspoon of matcha powder into hot water once daily. Avoid adding too much sugar. Try a squeeze of lemon or a splash of unsweetened almond milk instead. Number 3, cold water fish, omega-3s that fight inflammation. Fish like salmon, sardines, and even cod pack marine omega-3 fatty acids that help tame inflammation while activating brown fat. An Icelandic study reported that eating salmon 3 times a week for 8 weeks led to an average loss of 15 pounds in participants. Cod, with much lower omega-3 levels, still produced a 10-pound weight loss, proving you don't need the oiliest fish to benefit. Even better, omega-3s improve heart health, brain function, and mobility, areas that matter deeply for seniors. Portion tip: enjoy 2 4 to 5 ounce servings of fish per week minimum. Options like salmon, sardines, cod, and even shrimp provide measurable benefits. Number 2, cruciferous vegetables, nature's detoxifiers. Broccoli, bok choy, kale, and Brussels sprouts belong to the cruciferous vegetable family. These foods are loaded with sulforaphane, a natural compound shown to reduce visceral fat while improving insulin sensitivity. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition revealed that higher intake of cruciferous vegetables was associated with smaller waist circumference and better metabolic profiles in adults over 50. These vegetables also supply antioxidants that calm inflammation at the root level, helping prevent the gasoline on fire effect we discussed earlier. Portion tip: add 1-2 cups daily of cooked or raw cruciferous vegetables. Roasting them with olive oil or adding them into soups and stir fries can make them easier to enjoy regularly. Number 1, green tea, the champion fat-burning drink. At the top of the list is a simple, accessible, and well-studied option: green tea. Rich in EGCG, green tea is one of the most researched beverages for fat burning. In an 8-week trial from the Journal of Nutrition, Participants who drank 3 to 4 cups daily lost more weight, shrank their waistlines, and improved blood pressure, glucose levels, and cholesterol, all signs of better metabolic health. Another study on adults aged 35 to 65 found that 4 cups per day led to a waist size reduction of nearly 2 inches, equivalent to tightening a belt by 2 notches. This isn't just about vanity, it's proof that visceral fat can be targeted and reduced with daily choices. Portion tip: drink 3 to 4 cups per day, ideally spread across morning and afternoon. Skip the sugar, and if caffeine sensitivity is an issue, choose decaffeinated green tea. It retains most of its beneficial catechins. These foods aren't exotic or hard to find. They're everyday allies, backed by research that can shift your metabolism toward fat burning and reduce inflammation. The key is consistency, making them a daily habit rather than a one-time experiment. We've seen how food and drink can work like medicine, burning away visceral fat while calming dangerous inflammation. But your daily habits, when you eat, how you sleep, and the small choices you repeat every day, are just as important. And here's the hopeful truth: you don't need drastic changes. Subtle, sustainable shifts can make a dramatic difference for seniors aiming to lose harmful fat. The power of time, fasting without starving. One of the simplest and most effective tools for burning visceral fat is time-restricted eating, sometimes called intermittent fasting. This doesn't mean starving yourself. Instead, it means creating windows of time for eating and resting, allowing your metabolism to shift naturally into fat-burning mode. Here's how it works. When you eat, your insulin levels rise to move energy into cells. That's when your body is in storage mode. When you stop eating, insulin levels fall, and your metabolism switches gears into burn mode. During this phase, your body pulls energy from stored fat, including visceral fat. A practical senior-friendly approach is the 12-hour fast. For example, if you finish dinner at 7 p.m., avoid snacks afterward and wait until 7 a.m. for breakfast. That gives your body 12 hours of uninterrupted fat-burning time, half your day. If you feel comfortable, you can extend this window to 14 or even 16 hours, known as the 16-8 method. Portion tip: start with 12 hours daily of fasting. For many, this means simply cutting out late-night snacks. Build slowly. Comfort matters more than speed. Sleep, your nightly fat-burning partner. Sleep isn't just rest, it's one of your body's most important metabolic regulators. During deep sleep, your hormones rebalance, your appetite signals reset, and your brown fat is quietly at work. Poor sleep, on the other hand, raises stress hormones like cortisol, which encourage visceral fat storage. In fact, studies show that adults who regularly sleep fewer than 6 hours per night are significantly more likely to accumulate belly fat. On the flip side, consistent 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep supports fat loss and reduces inflammation. One powerful trick: cooler bedrooms. Research in Diabetes Journal showed that sleeping in a room around 66 degrees Fahrenheit, 19 degrees Celsius for several weeks increased brown fat activity and improved insulin sensitivity. That's a free, simple way to help your body burn more fat while you sleep. Portion tip: keep your room cool at night. Between 65 to 68 degrees is ideal for both comfort and fat burning. Daily movement, small steps that multiply. Exercise doesn't have to mean long runs or heavy gym sessions. For seniors, the most valuable form of movement is consistent, low-impact activity. Walking, swimming, tai chi, or light resistance training keeps muscles strong, joints mobile, and metabolism active. Muscle plays a special role here. It burns more calories than fat even at rest. So maintaining strength helps your body keep fat in check. A study in the Journals of Gerontology showed that seniors who added just 20 minutes of resistance exercise 3 times per week significantly reduced abdominal fat compared to those who didn't. Portion tip: aim for 30 minutes of movement most days, even if it's broken into shorter walks. Add 2 or 3 light strength sessions per week to preserve muscle mass. Portion control without deprivation. For many seniors, appetite changes with age, but portion sizes still matter. Eating large servings of calorie-dense foods, even healthy ones, can slow progress. The key is balance, enough to feel satisfied, but not so much that your body stores the extra as fat. Practical trick: use a smaller plate. Research shows people naturally eat about 20% less when they downsize plate size without feeling deprived. Another tool is the half-plate rule. Fill half your plate with vegetables, one quarter with lean protein, and the last quarter with whole grains or healthy starch. Portion tip: think in terms of daily patterns. Protein about 3 to 4 ounces per meal, size of a deck of cards. Vegetables 1 to 2 cups per meal. Healthy fats 1 to 2 tablespoons, olive oil, nuts, avocado. Whole grains half to 1 cup cooked. Every one of these lifestyle habits, timed eating, quality sleep, regular movement, and mindful portions, works like a small lever. Alone, they nudge your body in the right direction. Together, they create a powerful system that steadily reduces visceral fat, strengthens your health, and restores confidence. We've covered the science, the foods, and the habits. But now, let's take a step back and remember why this matters. Visceral fat is not just a number on a scan or an inch on a tape measure. It's the hidden weight that quietly steals your energy, strains your organs, and fuels inflammation. But here's the truth you need to carry with you. You are not powerless against it. Every study we've explored points to one hopeful message: your body responds, no matter your age. Even after years of carrying excess visceral fat, positive changes begin the moment you take small, consistent steps. A cup of green tea, a piece of salmon at dinner, a brisk 15-minute walk, an earlier bedtime. Each choice lights a spark inside your body, turning on fat-burning processes, calming inflammation, and protecting your future. This is not about perfection. It's about progress. Seniors who took part in long-term studies didn't have to overhaul their entire lives overnight. They simply added nourishing foods, improved their sleep, moved a little more, and kept going. Over time, their waistlines shrank, their energy returned, and their risk of disease dropped. If they could do it, so can you. Think of your health like a campfire. If the fire is burning low, you don't need to dump on gasoline. You simply feed it the right fuel, steadily, and watch it grow stronger. Your body works the same way. Each supportive habit you add builds resilience, protecting you not just from weight gain, but from inflammation, cancer risk, and the loss of independence that so many fear in later years. So as you move forward, remember this: you are stronger than you think, and it's never too late to change your health story. Every small win, a healthier meal, a better night's rest, a skipped midnight snack, is a victory worth celebrating. And if this message resonates with you, here's a simple way to carry it further. If you believe senior health matters and that our elders deserve better care, more support, and lasting vitality, subscribe to help push that message forward.